Hey everyone, Rayo here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a guide on how to farm the Mad King's Labyrinth in 2020. This is something that I've been doing for the past couple years, and I used to use a Daredevil a lot, but nowadays I use a double Greatsword Mirage. So today I'm just going to be going over the two classes that I've used. There's plenty of classes that you can use, um, as well as some settings to go over and how to farm the lab and what you want to do. So let's just get right into it. First things first, let's just go over like Magic Find and all that stuff that would apply to whatever class that you end up running. So first thing I actually want to go into is combat settings. So if you open your options and general options, scroll all the way down until you see combat/movement. These boxes right here, want to make sure that I click snap ground to current target for AoEs like Greatsword 3 or something like that. This might just be for Mirage, or if you have some Greatsword skill or AoE skills that you want to put specifically on a target. Right click to interact, that's fine. Promote skill target, go ahead and turn this off. And if you haven't already, this is something that I recommend turning off in general. But melee attack assist, turn this off, because especially in this, if you're like running and you're going in between all these ads, you're going to be halting a lot. You're going to be getting hit. You're going to be walled off by ads, basically, because you won't be able to run through their hitbox right away. Let's go over Magic Find. So Magic Find, I personally have my Magic Find at about, let's see, what is it on this account? This is my alt account right now. 169, 165 of that is from luck. So when it comes to Magic Find, it's not the most difficult thing in the world to get to about 100, 115. One thing that you can do is you can actually salvage ectoplasm, and that'll give you crystalline dust as well as a bunch of luck. If you want to boost your luck, this is something that you can do. It might turn out to be a little bit of a loss. I think the average loss of gold is about 33%. I could be wrong if anyone wants to correct me, but it is a very reliable way to boost your luck very, very quick. If you're just sitting on ectos, you can just salvage them. You'll get an immense amount of luck, and it'll just boost it really high. So yeah, like I said, 100-ish, 115 is not the hardest thing in the world to come across. So that's for your Magic Find. Now, when it comes to other Magic Find bonuses, here's what I would recommend. These are just some easy ones to get. Item boosters, these can actually be bought from the Laurel Merchant. They will only be like 30 minutes, but it's 1 Laurel per item booster. Spirit Banners, one can be bought for 20 Spirit Shards. And then Heroes Banners, if you run guild missions, you can buy these for guild commendations. These are typically provided by a commander, but if they're not, then just one person can provide them, and everyone in the instance can use it for an hour as much as they want. And then food. Spicy pumpkin cookies, sharpening skulls. These are Halloween things. You're going to be getting plenty of these. Just like if you open a single trick-or-treat bag, you'll probably get a couple of these to use. Or you can just buy them off the trading post. They're very, very cheap. And then celebration boosters, you get these from login rewards as well as in the 1 hour. But you can also get them from birthday gifts. So whenever your character gets 1 year older, you'll get a 24-hour celebration booster, which is great for Magic Find. A couple other easy ones that I don't have here is if you do key farms each week, like the level 10 story, and you get a Black Lion chest key, or if you open Black Lion chests and you have some Black Lion statuettes, one of those can be converted into a single Black Lion booster, which is another 100% Magic Find. That is a huge boost for pretty cheap. That's one of your better uses for Black Lion statuettes. Now, I will say, current year, like when I'm releasing this video, a current rate for permanent tools is 20 Black Lion statuettes. So that stock is going to change every once in a while. But if you're watching this like right now, 2020, Halloween 2020, it might be better to save those statuettes for those tools. But otherwise, if you have a surplus or you don't need tools, then that is a great use of your statuettes for the Labyrinth. So when I'm running on this, there's going to be more Magic Find boosters. I'll put the link to the wiki in the video description if you want to check out some more. But those are just the ones that I use because they're easy access and they're not. They don't cost anything like an absurd amount of money. So, but like I said, you can kind of boost it higher. But actually, one more thing, something I don't have on this character that I should is an Ascended Amulet. You can get a magical enrichment for 20 laurels from the vendor, and it just slots into an Ascended Amulet, only an Ascended Amulet or Legendary if you have that. And it's a 20% Magic Find bonus for whenever you have that amulet equipped. So I should grab that off my other character. I forgot to grab that. But typically when I'm all boosted up, I'll have around 415 to 515 Magic Find on this account. And on my main account, I have an extra 150 Magic Find because I maxed it. So I'll typically run around like 700 to 800 Magic Find per And then if you fight Steve, like the skeleton, the Labyrinth horror boss, or anything like that, you will get a magic find bonus. If you do the race in the Labyrinth, you'll get a magic find bonus. Typically, that stuff I don't bother mentioning because every instance is different. I always skip the races. The only boss I ever really fight is Steve, so you have that boost temporarily, and it wears off before the next time you even fight Steve. So those things you'll kind of just come across. I don't really count those into my initial calculation. But anyway, that is pretty much that. So let's go ahead and move on into the builds and how to farm with these builds. So since I'm on the alt account, I have my double greatsword Mirage. This is actually, I gotta give credit, this is a build that my friend made last year that I ran with. And on my main account, when I was at about 700 to 800 magic find, I could get about 800-ish bags per hour. On this account, I'm getting about 500 bags an hour. Because of my magic find, it's about half. So half of what I have on my main account. So I can still get a good amount of bags per hour, but obviously higher magic find would increase your baggy drops. So this is the build that I'm running. You can ignore that name. This is just the build. I'm just going to flash it real quick. So I'm going to put the build template code in the video description, but I just want to give credit to my friend Kami. He hasn't logged on in a little while, but this is a build that he ran and he gave me, and it has been working wonders. The runes that I'm using are runes of speed because I want to have that basically permanent super speed from swiftness. Basically turns swiftness into super speed. And then I have energy and stamina on each greatsword that I have, and I'm running 2 greatswords. When it comes to stats aren't the most important thing in the world. Ideally, you want to have like lesser bursty gear because you don't want to just be killing everything right away. You want to have as many people tag as possible because everyone's there to get bags just like you are. So basically, when it comes to farming the lab, I'm not gonna really join an instance real quick, but here we go. We have a mob door. I'll just give a tiny little example. One thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on action camera. So action camera makes this a lot easier and a lot less strainful. So basically what I'm gonna do is as I'm running through the lab, I can right click to take target, and then I can just click to auto attack. And then with Mesmer specifically, I'll kind of show this at the door, but basically I want to kind of get, like my auto attack pierces, I want to kind of get the farthest thing in the distance. Whenever I dodge, I spawn a clone. My Greatsword 2 spawns a clone. Whenever I swap weapons, I will regain 50 endurance, and then every time I kill a foe, I will regain endurance. And now the thing is that's awesome here is you can see I have, in a moment, I'm going to have 3 clones up, and this will be better exemplified on the mob door. But you can see that whenever I dodge my auto attack, my first skill turns into a different icon, and that is a Mesmer ambush skill for Mirage. So you can see that my laser turns into like this giant laser. And basically what happens is whenever I dodge and I hit that ambush skill, all of my clones are going to do that auto attack that can hit up to 3 targets each, so I can hit 12 targets almost constantly. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let the Labyrinth horror pass real quick. Because I don't want to aggro him, I will die. Adios, amigo. And when I get to a mob door, this is basically, I'm going to apply the same concepts, and this will be scaled up in a larger group, but this is just for example. And I'm basically just going to go around the door, and I'm going to be right-clicking to take target on the farthest target. If possible, it's going to be kind of hard to see. And I'm basically just going to be spamming my auto attacks. And I'm going to be dodging pretty much constantly because my endurance is going to be regenerating constantly. And if I'm ever out of endurance, I can swap weapons. I can always kill and add as well. I can burst my clones. Ideally, you want to kind of have a good relationship between when you want to burst your clones as to when you don't want to burst your clones. Because here's the thing, is when you dodge and you have 3 clones up and you dodge and you do your ambush attack, you're going to hit 12 targets. But also, your clones attach to the target that you spawn them on. So when your target dies, so do your clones. So you want to kind of make best use of your clones by shattering, because your shatters will also hit in an AoE, and they'll do a lot of damage as well, and they'll help to kill adds to help you spawn more clones. And basically all I'm doing is I'm going to be circling around, and I'm going to be just trying to tag as much as possible, dodging to spawn clones, dodging to do my ambush skills, so that way my clones can hit up to 3 targets each. I can hit 3 targets, and it's just basically doing that over and over and over. And as you're killing things, as you're dodging, as you're tagging things, everything is going to be dying. Your endurance is going to be 100% nearly the whole entire time. So you can basically spam your dodge key. And then as you get used to it, you can kind of refine it a little bit more. There's more things to it. But aside from that, your other skills are really this is just for healing and vigor. This is good for endurance generation. Crystal Sands is a good AoE, and it also spawns a Mirage Mirror, which when you hit a Mirage Mirror, it'll instantly activate your ambush skill without having to dodge. And then Blink and Jaunt are really just for travel. Jaunt is good if you get immobilized because it removes a condition, so it'll like teleport you and remove that immobilize, which is great. And then Signet of Inspiration is just to help upkeep your swiftness and just other boons. And if you ever need to duplicate boons, I guess you could use it, but typically I don't. But yeah, this is just to give you swiftness, and that has really good synergy with your Runes of Speed because it'll increase your swiftness duration. And then with the Runes of Speed, your movement speed increases by 66% while under the effects of swiftness. So that is Mirage. So let me go ahead and log on to the main account, and I'll show the Daredevil build that I use. What I'm running is I'll just flash it up, and I'll just, like I said, I'll put the build link in the video description. But basically the way that this works is you're going to be doing quite a bit of swapping with traits. Specifically, well, really just, not really quite a bit, just this one trait on Daredevil. You're going to swap between Unhindered Combatant as well as Lotus Trading. Whenever you are going through the lab, ideally you want to have Unhindered Combatant because it'll remove any sort of like immobilize or crippling effects, and then it'll just help you to keep up with the rest of the group. You have Shadow Step for keeping up with the group, and a lot of these skills are really just for when you hit mob doors. You basically just want to tag as much as possible with the mob doors. While you're running through the lab, basically your goal with this is a little bit more of a simple build, I would say. Basically, when you're running through the lab with all these trash mobs, what you're going to do is you're actually just going to, your shortbow 4, you're going to be camping shortbow, basically. Shortbow 4 will hit anything regardless of whether or not it's blocking because it's unblockable. And it'll also daze the target as well if it is blocking. So that'll be good for, I think they're like Lunatics or whatever they're called, some of the guys in the middle. So basically you're just going to dodge around. Whenever you dodge, you spawn caltrops, and you're basically just going to tag like this, and then you can auto attack and it'll bounce between targets. So basically you're just going to swap between shortbow 4 and then auto attacking. I would say that Action Cam can help here a little bit. I never ran this with Action Cam, but Action Cam can just make things a little bit easier on your wrists and everything. So anything to kind of help with, delaying any carpal tunnel or just like any sort of like hurting your wrists and your joints. So Action Cam, totally up to you. I never ran this with Action Cam, like I said, but that is pretty much all you do as you're going through the lab. You're just going to be dodging to keep up. If you need to catch up to the group, you can do Shadow Step, Shortbow 5. You can see that you are super duper mobile. Now, when it comes to mob doors, this is where it changes up. So I'm just going to go to a mob door that's over here. And then what we're going to do is, as we're coming up to a mob door, we want to make sure that we can get out of combat. That way we can swap over from Unhindered Combatant to Lotus Training. And the reason why is because what happens when we dodge with Lotus Training, not only do we still spawn caltrops, we'll also do these little daggers that go out. So I can spawn a poison field, I can dodge, and it'll also, these daggers, I believe you have to be in combat, but these little daggers that go off, they are considered a whirl finisher. So what I can do is when I spawn the door, I have prepared 1,000 needles. So I'm going to prepare this trap. This is an AoE, Dagger Storm is an AoE, Caltrops is an AoE. This is basically what we're dropping on the floor whenever we dodge. And then I'm basically just going to either camp shortbow, or I can even go staff, and I can just, this is good for Action Cam. Basically, your staff is a very good cleave. Just auto attacking is a good cleave. So basically, spawn caltrops, and then as soon as the ads start spawning, I typically typically camp on staff, and then as you can see, I'm hitting a lot of ads like this. I can also do this with shortbow 4. I would highly recommend staff though, because staff just hits a lot quicker, especially if you have quickness. You're constantly hitting, and you'll just go through the auto attack chain pretty darn quick. And that's virtually it. Like, I would say Daredevil is a little less intense and probably easier to keep up with the group than it would be on a Mirage. I would say Mirage is what some people would call sweaty, a little bit more sweaty, where Daredevil is a little bit more sweaty than normal, like a little bit more intense. That's what I mean by sweaty, just a little bit more intense than normal. But I would say not as much as Mirage. It's probably a little bit more laid back. Now, like I said, there are other builds that you can use. These are just the two that I've preferred to use because Thief was always my main, and then Mirage just can get more bags per hour from my personal experience. Now, when it comes to the gear on Daredevil, you'll see this. Actually, I didn't put this in the build template link, but basically it's going to be similar to, I don't have it on this character because I ended up not using this character anymore, but basically you're just going to have Rune of Speed again. That way you can have that nice swiftness duration, and as well as having it boosted up to basically be super speed. Another thing that's good is your swiftness generation is going to come from unhindered combatant because every time you dodge, you get swiftness. And so that's basically going to be your upkeep when you're going between all these doors. So that's where it's good. And then for your weapons, you can just do Sigil of Stamina and Sigil of Fire. Fire is good for like another AoE hit. It's just another extra thing that kind of happens passively, which is good. And then Stamina is every time something dies, then your endurance will regenerate. And just having a lot of attacks on dodge and having that dodge bar fill back up pretty quickly is very important for the Labyrinth. So that is virtually everything I had to go over today. I know this is kind of quick. I know it wasn't like too in-depth. You weren't seeing like an actual lab farming run. Maybe I'll put some clips in there. I don't know. But that is all I have for you today, guys. If you guys like this guide, then make sure to do all that cool YouTube stuff like, comment, subscribe. And if you'd like to follow me over on Twitch, I do stream over there. The link to my Twitch channel is on the screen right now, as well as in the video description, so you can click and follow on over there. Anyways, guys, my name is Rayo. I'll see you next time. Take care.